Hello and welcome to the HiddenUX podcast. I'm Manuel Makoto Gonzalez Hijo de Carlitos, and today I'm going to be talking about becoming the shadow artist, right? Now, shadow artist, that's a concept I learned from one of the books from Julia Cameron, I believe, and she writes all about, essentially at the heart of it's about creativity and the concept of shadow artist that I took from one of her books is that it's when you're essentially spending your life as not even an undercover creative, you're living in you've allowed your true creative self to just live in the shadows. And on the surface level, you live in some other kind of life. You live in some other kind of life that is not apparently creative, not in tune to who you really are. And who you really are is that creative self that you've hidden deep inside of you. And you know it's still there, but you've just left it in the shadows. Hence, shadow artist. And I love that concept because it made me think about, it made me think clearly when I became a shadow artist. I can remember the moments that led me further and further away from the path of living my true creative self and instead burying that creative self deep down inside of me. And I guess I've been spending years just trying to bring it out from the shadows, like not lose it altogether, right? And you can't lose it. It's just how much. It just depends how much you want to ignore it, but it's always going to be there. You can't get rid of it. It's deep down. It's in there, and it's just about how good you are in not listening to it, burying it, just hiding that creative self. And when I was growing up, the times where I felt when I was in flow, when I was in my element, when I felt like I was my true self, when I felt so happy and content doing a particular activity, was when I was doing art, when I was drawing, when I was playing with my Lego, when I was building things. I love doing these things, right? And I was never really the academic type, right? But ironically, my brother was. I mean, he was the academic type, okay? And when you're young, you think about your identity, and you think, okay, yeah, I'm the artistic one, I'm the creative one, and my brother, he's my older brother, he's only a year older than me, but he's the academic one, and that makes sense. You understand your world that way. He's the academic one, I'm the creative one. That makes sense. We're all happy, right? And then as we grew a bit older, I think we're about like 10, 11, he started getting really good at art and being acknowledged by his peers, I guess my parents and everybody. And up in that time, it was just me that was being acknowledged as being the creative type and the artist, right? And I'm talking about where, you have something when your peers, your friends in class are impressed by what you do. And your teacher is really impressing by what you do, to the point where they might even call another teacher from another class just to show them your work, right? So you feel like, yes, you have something, you know your place in the world. I'm the creative one, and this is what I'm good at. Okay, I'm not good at all the other stuff, but I'm good at this, right? Now, when my brother started getting acknowledgement for being really good at art, I guess I felt, in a way, like threatened. Like I felt like, there's not enough room for both of us. And it was totally made up. And I never had any conversations with anyone. I never spoke to him about this, and not even my parents. It was just what I observed. I just thought to myself, he's really good at art now. And for some reason I thought we can't both be artists. We both can't be the creative type. So what I'm going to do, I'll let him be the creative guy then, and I'll be something else now. Right? Just like that. I just totally made up that story in my head. It was all made up in my head. And that's what I said. I said that to myself. I said, he's going to be the creative type, and I'm going to stop. And I'm going to do something else. and how that transpired in my decisions that I made within school is that I would still do art whenever there was an art class, and I was still comfortable in it, but I guess I stopped embracing it in my own time. Like I didn't really pursue it in my own time. I stopped drawing. I stopped doing the drawing. I stopped the creative endeavours that I did at home. Like that completely stopped. I don't remember really pursuing it like I used to. But I just did it at school whenever there was that art class, right? But then the big moments came when you have to choose your GCSEs, right? And one of the choices is art, okay? And I really feel like if I chose art, that would have been my only A. I got terrible GCSE results, but I felt like that would have been my only A. I would have got an A for art, A grade, A, right? And I didn't choose that because, again, I was thinking to myself, well, my brother's the artist now, like I've left that path and I need to do something else. Oh, here's sociology. Here is sociology, and they talk about understanding people. That sounds like something I'd be interested in, something I'd like to do. So I chose sociology. I chose sociology instead of art. So that was another step away from really embracing my true self and burying that artist in the shadows. I took it one step further. I'm just getting deeper now. It's getting deeper, right? And that would have a knock-on effect through my the choices that I would make at college, because already I've made a stance by saying, yeah, I'm not doing art. I'm going to do sociology. I'll get more into humanities and just let me start understanding what's going on in the world. By the time it came to college, I was already becoming a bit more politically aware, understanding different political perspectives, and I can't remember what it was that made me think about this, but I went for a range of career things in my head, like, maybe I can be a marine biology, and I think I got that because I watched Titanic. I was like, yes, let me be a marine biology, and then astronaut must have been up there at some point. But when it came to, and I think actually I remember I was on the marine biology. So when it came to applying what you want to do at college from high school, I remember choosing physics and maths and biology. Yeah, those were the subjects I chose because that's what you needed to. Those were the subjects that would get me there, apparently, to be a marine biologist. So I chose that. But my grades weren't that great, and I had a change by the time I started college, which meant I changed my A-levels because by that time I wanted to be a filmmaker, I remember. And what really impressed me about filmmaking was that at that time I felt like I lost my drawing capability. Like I wasn't good at drawing. I felt like I was great at drawing when I was young, but as I let my brother take over, I stopped the practice. So I was still creative, but I wasn't that great at drawing anymore. So when I saw films and started contemplating filmmaking as a career, I thought, this is great. I don't have to draw anymore because you just, you record these images and then you just edit them together. And that feels like something I can do. That could replace drawing. I don't have to be good at drawing anymore. This is like digital manipulation that I can be involved with. Like I can do that, right? So hence I chose media studies to try and fulfill that part, right? And then also chose business studies and law. And those two were interesting because business studies I chose because I wanted to change things from the inside, because I'd always see all these political activists or environmental activists always campaigning outside of the business infrastructure, right? They're trying to influence businesses, the decisions they made from the outside. And I was thinking to myself, well, if I was kind of a business owner representing the inside, then I can make those changes on the inside, and then no one needs to protest because I'm there on the inside making those changes anyway. And that's why I did business studies. And then law I did because at that time, again, being politically aware, just being more aware of international crimes happening all around the world, I thought, maybe international criminal law is something I should just, that could be a potential thing that I could get into, right? And and I think that ticked the box of something my dad always wanted to do in terms of pursuing a career in law. So I had to pick 3 subjects, and I couldn't do all 3 in filmmaking related things. So that's why I chose the other 2, right? Otherwise, the media studies was the one that really got me excited. So I did that for the first year of college, okay? And then when I... and the thing about all those subjects, they're quite heavy, you know, even media studies, right? When it came to the exams, I mean, media studies had the great practicals, and I got to make a short film, and that was great, and that was probably my favourite part of college, just the practical exercise of making a short film, and I loved that, and I loved it when we screened it, and we saw, you know, all the other films from all the other filmmaking groups. That I loved, right? But what was really hard for me was the end of year exams. You had to write essays based on theory this and theory that, and that I was just out of my depths there. I just couldn't handle that. I wasn't interested in writing any essays. I just wanted to make films. I just wanted to make stuff, right? And then law and business studies, again, they're both just essays. I have to write essays, more essays. I really struggled towards the end of that year, and I flopped those exams. Maybe I think I even didn't turn up to some of them, but I completely failed that year. And I thought, oh, well, that's it. Like, that's the end of filmmaking for me, because I failed media studies, and I failed that whole year. So I think it's time I maybe think seriously about what I want to do with my life, and, you know, choose a proper career, because I associated my failures in that first year to me not I took that as a sign for me to not pursue a filmmaking endeavour, because even though I made a film and even I got an A for that, I remember that was my only A I think I ever got in college, but I failed the exams, right? So hence that's the end of the filmmaking career. That's how I understood what happened to me. I rethought about I need to pick myself up and really change things up and you know, pursue a proper career is what I was thinking. And hence, when it came to the second year, I retook A-levels. Okay, I chose new subjects for the A-levels, and I landed on politics, sociology, and history, because those were the academic subjects I need to do to get into law, because law was going to be the thing now. I thought, okay, let me pursue law, because, you know, my dad tried it, he didn't succeed. My older brother, he's another story, but I think he was going to do academic subjects that could lead to a career in law potentially, right? But, you know, he didn't pursue it anyway. So I thought, okay, I'm the guy that's going to pursue it. I'm going to pursue this career in law, this thing that our family's been trying to get into. So I want to do these academic subjects and apply to law, and that's it, okay? And then I managed to get through those 2 years. I think I got like a BDE, right? I had some great teachers, right? The subjects were interesting, but throughout those 2 years, that's it. The creative endeavours that I had was just like that was it. It was dead. It was buried. I wasn't doing anything, you know. The previous year, at least I made a film, and in high school, at least I had art subject. But now in my second try at college, starting from the second year, where I retook my subjects, that's when I've really now buried. I really buried my creative self, and I really, truly became that shadow artist. Right now, any artistic endeavours is just really in the shadows. I couldn't see it anymore. And then, you know, because of the grades I got, it was enough to get into law. So I just scraped through, and I got into university through clearing. Clearing is what you go through when you didn't get the grades you want, but there's still some vacancies, open spots at various degrees at various universities, and you just try at different places. And I thought, okay, I don't have, for law you need the top grades, which I didn't get. So for politics, a bit more relaxed for that subject, and I managed to get into politics at Queen Mary. Okay, but again, that's like I'm just consolidating that step of not doing anything creative, okay? Because again, it's essay based. Again, I'm just doing something outside of my element. I'm just making these wrong choices because in the previous years I made some more wrong choices, and a wrong choice leads to another wrong choice, and I'm just constantly now making choices that is really burying my creative self, right? And then when I'm at uni, I spent 5 years. 5 years because I spent 2 years trying to pass my first year, because I had to do 2 years worth of retakes, because I would either, again, just essay, never really learning how to write essay properly, effectively, efficiently. I was so scared and stressed at the exams. I was of the mindset of I would rather not do an exam than perform poorly. So I would just run away. I wouldn't attend these exams, and of course I got to fail, and I'd have to retake the year. And of course I'm retaking the year because I'm thinking, well, I need to just finish uni now. I'm in now, so surely I need to finish uni. But I spent 5 years doing that. I spent 3 years doing the first year. I got through the second year quite swiftly. Still a struggle, but I did it. Then come the third year was the big year when all kinds of things is happening. I'm working, like 4 or 5 days a week, just trying to help my family out. And I have this big dissertation to write, and that's even worse. Like, I can't even write an essay properly, and now I need to write this 10,000 word dissertation, even though I wanted to write a really good dissertation. And it just all those years just really built up. And I remember just sitting in the library, and I have this big dissertation to write. I'm literally a month or two away from graduating university. And then I know in my heart, and I remember saying to myself, Manuel, why have you been doing this to yourself? Why have you been living this life outside of your element, outside of your true self? And I asked myself, what did I actually want to do? Right? What did I want to do with my life? Right? And then I look back to what I really enjoyed at college and the spark that I had there. And I was like, well, I actually just always wanted to make films. Why did I stop that? How have I spent the past 7 years not doing this? Right? And I literally just got up. I was surrounded by a stack full of books related to this dissertation I had to write. And I literally walked away from that desk. I went to the filmmaking section, and I got me a couple of books. And one of them was called 101 Things They Don't Teach You at Film School. And some other book, I can't remember, but I remember that one. And I went, sat down, and started reading it. And I was just enjoying it. I felt like I was home again. I was like, yes, this is what I want to be doing. I was just feeling like you're beginning to find yourself again. And then that was the last day I spent at uni. And I literally just walked out. I left that campus. I didn't say goodbye to anyone. I just left it. And I just felt like that was the first time in so many years that I was actually honest to myself. Because for years and years and years, I felt like I've been lying to myself. And I knew it. I knew I was. But I wasn't brave enough to do anything about it. And it led me on a course where I was spending so many years of my life doing things in a way that was outside of my element. And so it was a struggle. It was a struggle because I wasn't good at it. I wasn't good at academia. I wasn't aligned to doing something more creative while I was making stuff, right? And I just walked away, and then that kind of concluded, those years spent away as a shadow artist, and just the beginnings of me trying to resurrect myself, but pursue a career that is more fulfilling, that is more creative, and that would allow me to not be the shadow artist anymore.